Hi everybody, good evening, and thank you so much for joining today. A wonderful good evening to everybody. Today we have Nivedha ma'am. Nivedha ma'am is a child and an adolescent counselor focusing on emotional wellness for adults and children with a specialization in cognitive behavioral therapy. She's also a parent educator and early learning advocate and who has educated more than 500 plus parents on conscious parenting and emotional wellness. Thank you so much for joining us, Nivedha ma'am, today. All our participants eagerly waiting for you on the topic of the three important C's in parenting, right?
Yeah,
Communicate, cherish, and connect. So over to you, ma'am.
definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Abhilash, for giving me this platform because the cause that you guys are working together was very, very close to me, and that's why I wanted to really do it for you guys. Thank you, all the other participants, because I totally know how it would be a Friday evening, and already planning would have been started for tomorrow what you have to do and Sunday what you have to do. Still, you guys are joined in to just learn. A lot of you may be parents, may not be parents, but still you wanted to understand the core of what this topic is and what you wanted to do. So thank you for that. Let's get started without further delay. See, when we want to do something with respect to learning and unlearning, the first things why we start attending sessions or why we start wanting to know more about things is we feel frustrated that we lack communication enough and we lack control enough on our children. Like, for example, when our child becomes mischievous, when our child is having tantrums, when our other children, you see some other children having tantrums or some other children having behaving in a different way, you feel very disconnected and you think that, oh, okay, when this is coming to me, I probably lose the control. Okay, I will not be able to help my child. I will not be able to help myself. I can't do anything of this. It's going to be very chaotic for me. So this frustration leads you into more guilt, leads you into more confusion about what's happening around. But that is the one biggest mind shift that has to happen among all of us, not only with respect to just the parent, everybody around. So, getting into the crux of what we are talking today, will always be focusing on three important aspects as an educator, as a counselor, that I have seen. Other than the obviously, all of you would have done so many other learnings with respect to parenting, but these three, the first thing being connection. Okay, the first thing being connection, connecting with your child. Second thing being communication in the sense all of us will talk to our children, right? We do this, we do that, but in what way do you talk? You just keep telling them do this, do that, or even do you allow them to communicate to you? There is a huge difference between both. And when these first two steps are fallen in place, like you get a hold of all connections and communications that you can do with your child, you will cherish every moment that you're learning together as a parent and a child. Like, for example, a relationship between a parent and a child. It's not that it will be perfect parent and child. That thought has to go out of mind. Nobody can become a perfect parent, and we are not here to raise a perfect child. Please have that in mind, because perfect children is just a myth. If all our children are perfect and we have a defined standards to raise them, they'll become robots. They will not be human beings. They will not have their own feelings. They will not have their own way of doing things. There's so much different things, right? So coming into the first point that we are talking today will be connection. So how do you connect with your child? So the first connection will be obviously physical connection. What physical connection is just hugging them, kissing them. All of us do that very naturally, but we miss doing this when they're most vulnerable. Like when they are doing their tantrums, when they are very sad, upset, or probably when they want something and they're crying at the top of their voice. At that time, we miss this physical connection. Physical connection in the sense hugging, kissing, holding them together. What do I call it as? Just sitting next to them. That's all. Even when there is a phase of tantrum, rather than no explanation. See, your child is crying for switching on the TV and they're screaming their hell out, and you are there asking them to stop doing this. You can't do this. You watched for 1 hour. You watched for 2 hours, etc., is going. But instead of walking away from that place saying, "Okay, fine, sit here and cry. I'm doing my work." Instead of that, if you sit with them, just listen to them. Just be with them. That gives them more comfort. Just think about a 3-month-old baby. When they are carried by some strangers, they scream out crying. And when the mother pulls them back, they feel connected through that physical touch. And they keep quiet. So the physical connection starts obviously in the womb. And when the child comes out of the womb, when they are born outside, they crave that connection. It's not that only up to toddlers or young Teens expect that connection. Adults like us, even today, when we are going and talking to our parents, we just want them to feel connected to us. Like, no, okay, I understand. Looks like some new idea that you're working on. See, that is the thing that we are expecting. So first thing, connection, which is physical. Second would be emotional connection that you're giving to your child. What would I call as emotional connection? Like, no, I allow him to cry, I allow him to whatever he wants, I allow him to feel happy, I make him happy. That's not connection. That is not connection. That is not emotional connection. So what is emotional connection? Emotional connection is allowing the child to express all emotions. See, as parents, obviously, we have been brought up in such a way that our parents wanted to keep us always happy, all the time happy, not blaming them though. That's what all of us even want our children for. But the outside world that they're growing out to be, that they're going to be when they're becoming like 15, 16 or 20 or 20 plus, the world outside is not all the time happy. If we don't provide a space for them at home to be happy, sad, disappointed, jealous, what would I call, frustrated, depressed. So many emotions are there. All the emotions that we know is what? Happy, sad, anger, and fear. That's all. Only four. That's the basic emotions. But there are hundreds more beyond this. No, the child is okay to feel angry. So allowing a child to feel all of this. What do we immediately say when the child is upset, when the child is sad? Can anybody tell me what do you tell your children when they feel sad? You can tell me in the audio, or even you can even type in the chat box and tell me. What do you tell your child when your child cries? Anybody? In the chat or in the audio? Don't cry. Absolutely. Okay. Take a deep breath. Yes. It's okay to cry.
What is upsetting you?
Okay, what's upsetting
What is upsetting you?
Don't allow him to cry. Amazing. It's okay. Mommy is there to help. Everyone does. Give what he wants. Yes. Okay. Okay. Some amazing answers. So when you say the first one and the few other people just said, people who said it's okay to cry and mommy is here, etc., are actually really doing well because you have unlearned something. Our people or our previous generation have always told don't cry. Always said that don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. But why do we do that? When you say don't cry, I'll just give you a scientific reason of what happens when you tell your child don't cry. Okay. So yes, Amma is here. Sorry, I saw a few more. Ask him what he wants and Amma is there, etc. Generally, two things that we do is, first thing, we try to stop them from doing what they're doing. Like either if they're misbehaving due to the tantrum, like when they're crying, when they're rolling, when they're beating or doing something, we first stop the behavior. We try to stop the behavior. Then we say don't cry. Then we keep asking questions. Why are you crying? What somebody said, what is bothering you, etc., etc. What happens here is, there is something, two major things that you need to understand from a psychological aspect and the emotional development aspect and the brain neuroscience aspect of the child is, the child's brain, okay, is obviously right brain dominant, which is called as the subconscious brain dominant. And when the subconscious brain is dominant, there's something called as an automatic stress response. Okay, so what is an automatic stress response is where the child is having a stress. See, for us, a word stress is basically you've been depressed for months and months, and then you got into stress, you took a blood test, and some doctor told you that this is stress for us. For a child, wanting to watch TV and mommy is not allowing to watch TV, wanting to do an activity in a different way but mommy is not allowing to do it, daddy is not taking to the playground but he wants to go and play, he does not want to eat but mommy is forcing to eat. All this is stress. All this is stress. What happens when stress happens is, we are talking about the emotional connect and the need, why you want to allow them to feel the way they are feeling. What happens when they have this automatic stress response is, when the cortisol hormone in their brain is generated, their body goes on to a mode called as its automatic stress response, which is the flight, fright, and freeze mode. Flight, fright, and freeze mode. So all these three modes are like, either you see the child just sitting like that, they will never answer you how much ever questions you ask. Second thing, the child screams and screams and cries. The more question you ask, what happens? You ask somebody, said, tell me what is bothering you, what do you want, etc. No? When you ask more questions, have you noticed? What have you noticed? When you ask more questions, what do they do? Have you noticed that? When they are crying and when you're asking more questions, Have you noticed what they do? Anybody has noticed what they do? They get more angry. Yes. True. Anybody else? Yes. So as Samira said, they get more angry, they get more frustrated, they cry more. You know why? Start crying more, scream, cry all the more. Absolutely right. You know why this happens? This happens because according to the stress response, when the child is crying, okay, the flight mode is the child will either run away from that place, yes, more cranky. So why this happens is, this generally happens between children from 1.5 years to almost 4.5. So what happens at that point is, 1.5 to this 4 years of age, one thing is language development is happening. So what happens when they are having this stress responses, they're learning words, they cannot tell you, like how Samira said, no, they get more angry because when they're telling, Amma, you switched off the TV, mommy, that's why I am crying. Daddy didn't take me to the park, that's why I am crying. They don't have, I am feeling sad, that's why I am crying. They don't have words to tell you this, first thing. Second thing, when there is a stress response activated in the brain, the connection from the mouth to the brain, the language part of the brain, the connection between the mouth. Like for example, I am taking the session now. I am thinking so many thoughts in my brain and I am bringing it through my mouth to the words. So I'm talking to you like this. In case I'm in stress right now, in case I'm anxious right now, in case the hormones of cortisol and the automatic response is there, I will not get enough words to talk to you guys. Though I know everything in my brain, okay, though I know. I've heard parents tell me, no, Nivedha, he's very vocabulary, his vocabulary is very good, he knows to tell everything, but when he cries, he's not able to tell me. This is because when he cries, the connection between the mouth and the brain to take the language and tell you, mommy, this is why I'm crying, the connection is lost. Okay, you guys get that? So you have to have really this in mind. And these tantrums and these stuffs might stop after close to 4 years, because the child will have enough words and enough development of the brain to tell you that it's not that after 4 years tantrums will stop, but it will reduce because the language would have already built. So 1.5 to close to 4 years, why that physical connection and emotional connection is needed is, when the child is having that stress response and crying, you go to them, sit to them and calm them down first without asking why you are crying. Don't cry, don't do this, don't do that, tell me what you want, I will help you, mommy is always here. This is all, you are doing it in a right motion, I completely get that, but psychologically it is only affecting the child more because you are asking questions and they're not able to tell you why they're feeling that way. Imagine that you and me, if I'm taking any of you and going to China, and in China, I don't know Chinese, and somebody is coming and asking, I'm so depressed, and somebody is coming and asking me, what happened, why you're crying in Chinese language. And I know that I'm suppressed, I know that I'm depressed, I know that I want to tell that other person that I'm feeling bad. I don't have language, I'm very stressed, I don't know if the other person would judge me or not. So many things, right? Imagine a 1.5 years old to 2-year-old to 2.5 years old doing all this in their mind. They will be just wondering, what is happening? I'm not able to tell mommy that I'm crying for this reason. Get that? So when the child, you have to emotionally connect with the child before trying to correct or before trying to give them a space to tell what they want or something. Any other advice or any other explanation you're trying to give. The one missed thing that we are doing while connecting is, before connecting, we start correcting the child. Okay, there's two things, correcting and connecting. Before even trying to connect, we start correcting. Like, what is correcting? Don't do this, don't cry, mommy will give you the TV tomorrow, mommy will do that tomorrow, I'll do that later, I know you're feeling this, I know that this. So all this is correction. You are a big boy now, you're a big girl now, you're a boy now, you should not cry, you're a girl now, you should not scream. All this correction happens. Where is the connection? The child will be like, I am sad. Do you even understand? How do I tell you that I am sad, I am angry, I am frustrated because I'm not able to go out and play and meet my neighbor? You get that? So it's huge for them because their brain is not developed. Get that? Second thing, apart from the subconscious, the automatic stress response is something called as the subconscious mind way of working, where when you keep saying don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, subconscious brain is made in such a way that it does not process negative words directly. Okay, like now I am telling all of you, okay, don't think about a hot coffee. How many of you thought about a hot coffee? Tell me in the comments, or you can tell. How many of you thought about a hot coffee? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I think if there's a lag in the chat, I'm getting you. Okay, so how many of you thought? Okay, again I'm saying, don't think about 2 cups of blackcurrant and chocolate ice cream. You again thought about blackcurrant and chocolate ice cream together? It's not any question, Samir. I just told you guys that don't think about hot coffee. I'm just asking you, did you think about hot coffee? You can't hear me, is it? Who's that can't hear you? Banu Mitra. If you please check it.
Oh, we can hear, ma'am. No worries.
Yeah, okay,
It's
fine.
clear.
So the problem here is when I said don't think about something, still you thought, right? That is because, see, other people who didn't get that, you can try learning about this separately, like how you can go and search and understand how the processing of subconscious brains. So why does this happen is your subconscious brain behaves in certain way that it shows you an image of whatever you're talking, okay, and tell you don't think about it. Like for example, if I'm telling no, don't think about coffee, it shows you coffee, and our senses are so strong that you even get the smell of the coffee, right? That's how super fascinating the subconscious brain is. So why I'm telling you this is, when your adult brain, like you have subconscious brain, conscious brain, your impulse control is developed, everything is working together, and you know that now you can't get a hot coffee right now, the very moment. But for a child who is just subconscious brain dominant, they don't have the left part of the brain fully functioning, it's still developing. So the logical part of, okay, I am crying, that is why mommy is asking me this question, maybe I did something wrong, all that your 2-year will not know. The logical part does not develop yet. The other part is the impulse control part. Okay, I have to stop crying now. Mummy is trying to convince me, so I have to stop crying now. That also is not developed. So a child who you're giving negative statements, don't jump. Negative statements in the sense, you shouldn't do this, you should not have done this, you are a big girl, no, you're a big boy, no, you should not be doing this, don't cry, don't jump, don't drop the water, no, don't spill the water, don't waste the food, etc., etc. The brain of the child skips the don't and goes to the actionable part. Don't cry, skips don't, goes to the actionable part is cry. Don't jump, skips don't, and goes to the actionable part of the word, which is jump. This is the same reason why every time when the child is crying, you go and tell the child, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. They end up doing the same thing. This is why we have to focus upon the communication part of the child, which I'll be telling the next. So the first thing, we were talking about connection, which is the physical connection and the emotional connection. So in the emotional connection, you have to be available and get to your mind that if your child is crying, it's absolutely normal. Crying is not bad. Get that into your mind. Crying is not bad. Just because your child is crying, it doesn't mean they're adamant. It doesn't mean that they're, mischievous. It doesn't mean that they're wantedly doing it. Crying is a way of expressing how they feel, how they want to tell you something is wrong, how they will tell. Like, for example, I was not well. Abhilash knows that I was literally not well till yesterday, and I know that I have to be ready today and I have to address all of you. But in case, if I am a small child and I was not able to do any of it, all I can tell Abhilash, I'm not well, etc., etc., etc. Imagine a child who is not feeling well, hungry, who wants their needs, and not having enough words to tell all this. What will they do? They'll cry. Crying is their only option to tell you that there is something going on in them. That also, if you want to stop, just imagine the stress of the child. All that we want to see is a happy, smiling child. Then how do the child will communicate to you there's something wrong, right? So emotional connection is allowing. See, that long time is yours, Aarti. It's absolutely yours. I'll keep the questions for the last 15 minutes because I don't want to waste covering the content. I'll try to take up in the last 15 minutes that we have allotted for the questions. So coming to the connection, emotional connections part that we were talking. So when we had this emotional connection discussions, we spoke about communication, right? The second thing, super thunder exactly. So the second thing is the emotional connections that we're talking about, where you have to just be validating how the child feels. Okay, that takes us to the next part of it, which is the communication part. So when you are communicating to your child, focus will be on the words that you are using, how much you are allowing the child to express how they feel, how much you are allowing the child to, how much you are listening to the child, allowing yourself to listen to what the child does, stopping the assumption that you already have. If the child is about 2.5 and 3 years, if the child is trying to come and tell you something, we jump into assumption and conclusion and we start telling, no, that only you can watch later. This only you can play later. How many times do you listen to the child? So communication is basically allowing, choosing the right words to them when you're talking to them, because that's lot more important. If you miss on that communication part, the child will always feel they are being controlled all the time, from morning to evening. All the time they are controlled. Do this. Just imagine, today I'm having a 1 hour session with you guys, and all these 1 hour I'm only telling you guys to do this, everybody do this, everybody do that. You can't watch the laptop for so long. You cannot watch the TV for so long. You cannot bath in the bathtub for so long. You have to eat only this meal of the day. You see, the too much of control leads the child to feel that they are not having any space in the house. So what happens? Everything will be shown in the behavioral way. Like they will start rebelling more. They will start saying no more. They will start, whatever you say, they will not cooperate. They will not cooperate because they have never been allowed to talk or allowed to do something by themselves, right? So in the first thing itself about the communication process will be connecting with the child, just being with them. Second one, validating how they feel. Like for example, the TV, I do put in your questions, I will take up in the last case because I don't want to get distracted. If the child is wanting to watch the TV and they're crying, we even know what happens is we assume that if we are giving instructions to them or we are talking to them, in the first few months itself, they are supposed to listen to us. Okay, I told him, I validated him, and it's been 3 months, but still he is doing the same. They will do the same. Why? Because their impulse control is not developed yet. You guys know something, I'll tell you one psychological or this fact. This is the part of the brain which is the impulse control. Okay, all of us have this decision making and emotional regulation. Everything happens here in this part of the brain. It's the impulse control, and that part of the brain is called as a frontal lobe. Okay, it develops close to 20 plus years. Can you guys imagine 20 plus years? Just imagine the decisions that we have taken at 16, 15. You have to think. So this impulse control is when the child, like for example, the child is wanting to throw the phone down. Okay, you are very far away and you're telling the child that don't throw. I understand you want, you're feeling, you're validating, you're doing everything, but yet the child knows he should not throw the phone. The child is aware that he should not throw the phone, but still the child cannot stop doing that. He needs physical intervention of an adult. Like I have to keep saying from there and coming close to him, hold him his hands and take the phone away from him. That is the impulse control, where the child starts crying. He knows he has to stop, right? If he has to stop, he needs an adult intervention for him to stop crying. Expecting the child to listen to you even after doing all the steps is unrealistic. Expecting the child to follow all this consistently every single month is unrealistic. I have a 3.6-year-old daughter, and we have been validating doing all this from close to 1.5 years. Every time we do have tantrums. It doesn't mean that just because I'm validating her, connecting with her, communicating with her, she never has tantrums. She's perfect. No. All children need adult guidance every single time they're having an emotional regulation need. Okay, so this impulse control thing is not developed. Like somebody asked about the TV, Aarti asked. So about the TV, the child wants to watch the TV and they find it very difficult. This long time they're watching already is a definition to us. The child does not understand the difference or side effects of long time, short time, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes. Even though you're explaining like you're seeing for 3 hours, you're seeing for 2 hours, how does it even become a difference for the child? We are binge watching Netflix series even after knowing that it's bad to our eyes in the midnight, right? So when a child is watching something very funny, something very communicative, something very interactive, the colors are there, it's so very connected to the child, and we are wanting him to stop watching that just because we feel it's long time. And we are expecting the child to listen to us because it is long time, and we are explaining him that his eyes will go off. They don't understand that. There, you need to validate. Like, I understand that you're feeling sad that you're not able to watch TV anymore. I wish that I can give you some more time to watch the TV. Okay, no explanation. The mistake that we do here is, but what generally parents do, all of us, I took a long time to unlearn this, but when we tell them something like, when we are validating, okay, after the sessions, lot of parents come back to me and say, when we are validating the feelings, I have a 3-hour session. This is at least 1 hour. I have a 3-hour sessions on all these topics. So even after the 3-hour session, they come back to me and tell, because it's very difficult to unlearn. I understand, baby, that you want to watch TV, but mommy cannot give you. I understand that you want to play in the water, but I will not be able to allow you. I understand that you didn't like this meal, you didn't like this roti today, but I want you to eat it. What happens when you use this buts and its and wants more? Simple thing. Today you guys are coming and telling me, Nivedha's session was good, Nivedha, but you could have been more clearer or more better or something like that. The first part of the sentence loses its importance. I tell all of you, you guys are great parents, but you guys could have been better parents too. Which will you focus more on? Second part or the first part? The second part, right? So all of us do this mistake when you are validating. First one is connection. I told you with respect to the communication that we are talking. First is you're connecting with the child, which is basically sitting with them, hugging them, and just touching them and calming them down. You're calming them down for them to lose that stress response to come down. Only when the stress response comes down, they will just settle down. If the stress response doesn't come down, they will still continue the cry. Okay. So the second thing is you are validating the child's feeling. So when you are validating the child's feeling, you will not be giving any explanation or advices or choices or opinions or anything. Validating the emotions means just accepting what they are feeling and giving a name to that and listening to them how they feel. The second thing, after the tantrum is over and all, you can set your limits and boundaries, etc. Then you can do later. You are a parent, you are an adult. Say I'm sure there are a lot of males also here. If you are a parent and you are feeling so exhausted at the end of the day, okay, your partner is coming in or your friend is coming in, anybody, okay, somebody is coming in and telling you, it looks like you had a bad day, but you could have done so much of other work also. Imagine how you will feel. Like if wife's at home taking care of the child, if husband is working and coming back home and telling, hey, did he trouble you so much? But I think you were free all the day. But I think you watched TV for a long time. So the second part completely gets off the first thing. Like you feel that, does this guy even understand what I feel? Does my friend, okay, you're going to your boss and he says, I know you want to leave today, but finish the work. So how do you feel? Like, no, I just told him that I'm not well. And does he even understand he's asking you to finish the work? So this is the same to the child. When they're screaming at the top of their voice, when we go and explain to them that, I understand that you're crying, I understand that you are sad, but you can't do this right now. So what happens there when you use the but there is the first sentence that you told that you can understand them goes wrong. So child will be like, okay, I don't think she gets my point. Okay, so I don't think I am able to make my mommy or daddy understand what I feel. Okay, so the second point of validation will be just accepting. I understand you want to watch TV. I know that you are sad. Are you sad? Are you disappointed that mommy told you this? Like for example, my daughter wants to play a lot of time in the water, and the moment I say no, she'll start crying and she'll start behaving. No, she'll start expressing more and crying. So when I ask her that, no, are you disappointed, baby, that mommy does not allow you to play in the water? She says, yes, mommy. And then the next thing, I cannot say that water will give you cold, water will bring you, fever, etc. I say that can be really very sad for you. That is really very disappointing for you. You may be getting angry on mommy, right? So when you do this, what happens is the child feels. I'm talking about communication and the importance of choice of words here, in case anybody missed in between. When you do this, when you validate, the child feels, okay, the emotion that I'm undergoing now is called anger, I guess. Mommy is saying, okay, I think this is normal only. This is okay to feel disappointed only. It's okay to feel angry only. So the child does not understand what they are feeling. Okay, it's adults, us, we have to give them names. We have to labels. I have a 3-hour session which is called as Parenting Big Feelings, which tells you the entire aspect of how do you talk about feelings and emotions, and that takes a long time. So why I am stressing on that point here is, in communication, when you're talking to your child, you need to use words positively and properly to validate the child so that the child feels heard. At the end of the day, you are giving super education, super facilities, everyday activities, all super luxury things to the child. They just want to be seen, heard, and touched and felt connected. That's all. Irrespective of their 8 months, 8 years, 18 years, 28 years, no matter what. Even if you're a household, you're a adult in your house, all that you want is somebody should listen you out. Somebody should feel that they're listening to how you feel. This is the same for the child. So the first one is connection, second one is validating. So after validating, what do you do? Like when they're crying, so a lot of people ask me, so what do you do? How do you set boundaries and limits? So the boundaries and limits again is a separate, different huge topic. But in respect to the communication, what you do is you validate them. So the first 2 steps, if you have done properly, the screaming child or the crying child will calm down because their stress in the mind has stopped. Has reduced. The production of that cortisol hormone has reduced. So they will come to the regular state of mind away from the automatic stress response state of mind. You got my point? So when they calm down, then you can start talking. Then you can start communicating about what that situation is and etc. Like for example, if you want to properly communicate to the child with respect of one specific thing, you can offer them choices. Okay. Why do you offer them choices? Is basically because they should feel that their opinion is valued, their choices are valued. When you ask them something like, would you like to eat, when you're giving them a plate of chapati and curd, when you ask them like, would you eat chapati, eat curd, it's good for your health. Or like if you have vegetables and chapatis in the same plate and you say, eat vegetables, baby, it's very good to you. All that the child will say is, no, I don't want to eat, I don't want to bath, I don't want to dress up. So open statements to a toddler will always yield you a no. Why the child is, does your children do that? Anything you tell your child, baby, wear this dress, we can watch TV later, we cannot go to the park now, we can't eat this chocolate right now. All these straight one statement questions, what will be the response from your child? No. The child will on the face tell, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. Ma, please, yes, they'll start requesting, but they don't want to do that. Okay, why that happens is the child all the time hears no from us. and the child wants to show that they have independence and control over what they want. First thing. Second one, throughout the day when they have been told what to do, the child wants to show that I don't want to do what you're telling. So they will show that control in specific places when you're asking them a straight sentences. When you ask anything, straight sentence, all that you get is a no. How to change that with respect to your communication is always offer choices. It's called as double blinds in NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. This option is called as double blinds. Double blinds is where you offer choices, two choices, out of which at least one is okay for you. Please don't offer two choices which is you are not also okay. Among that, if the child is choosing one, you will go crazy again and again tantrum will start. Like vegetables you're offering and roti, dal you're offering with the roti. You offer choices like instead of telling you have to eat vegetables first. If you say you have to eat vegetables first, the child will not do that. The child say no, I don't want. You say, how do you like to eat roti with? You want to eat roti with vegetables first or dal first? Okay. You would like to go to the park and then come back and watch TV, or you want to watch TV and then go back to the park? Okay, when you want to put away the toys inside and then go to do the activity, or you want to do the activity and then come back and put the toys back. When you offer these two sentences, two choices, the child has no other option to choose either one, because no cannot be the answer, because you're giving two options. The child has to choose one. But have in mind, you should be okay with a child choosing one option. It is in your mindset. Okay. If the child says, I want to watch TV and then go to the bar, you should be okay with that. That's what the communication, respectful communication, mutual respect that you're showing to the child. What happens if you don't do that is, the child will be like, anyway, this mommy is going to ask options. And if I choose among that one, she will again explain me not to do that. So the child will not respect your offering choices also. So when you're offering choices, please be aware that at least one choice that the child is doing. Here also, I'll give you one example of increasing tantrums or rebelling that can happen. Like for example, you have asked you want to watch the TV and then go to the park, or the park and then TV. The child might choose the first one, because also there is small tactics here. I will tell you, the children will always choose the first one. Okay, first option, like watching TV and then go to the park, or park and then TV. First one will always be. Yeah. So the first one will always, the child, as per the psychology, will always choose the first one, because by the time they remember the second one, the first one will be there in their mind. So what you want them to do, please have that as a first option. This is a small trick, okay? May not be applicable to all the children, but you can try. So when you're doing this, when you're wanting to watch, the child wants to watch TV and you're saying, okay, there will be again a struggle for the child to switch off the TV and go to the bar. That is reality, because the child is watching something very connected and the child has to switch that off, gives them disappointment. Again, there needs validation. Baby, I understand that you wanted to watch, mommy and you agreed. You not say, I allowed you to watch. We have to say, mommy and you agreed that after watching TV, we will go to the park. Now I know it's very upsetting for you. We will sit. Once you're feeling better, we'll go to the park. But don't switch the TV on again. This is the biggest mistake all of us do. When the child starts crying, we let go of the limits that we set. Like we say, we see the children cry. We don't want them to cry. Obviously, as parents, we don't want them to cry. And what we do, we give up. Like the gentle parenting confusion is always this. We give up and say, okay, fine, stop crying, watch. We don't need to go to the park. Like somebody said, okay, fine, eat roti with dal, don't touch vegetables, don't cry, eat something. So what happens here is, the child gets into a pattern, like, okay, she will anyway come and give me choices, I will choose one, and the moment my choice is over, she will ask me to do the second thing, I will cry, and then she will give me the first one again. Children are absolutely clever in finding our responses. And when do we ask, like when you're sitting in front of the laptop and they're coming and asking something, when you're so busy with something, when they keep nagging you, you say, yes, fine, go do it. So children are absolutely clever in when they're doing something like this. So we have to be more cleverer, especially this generation kids. So when you're offering the choices, be very diligent when you're doing it. Second thing, even when you offer the choices, don't expect that the child will listen to you very clearly and come to you the moment they switch off the TV. There are chances that they will feel disappointed and upset because it's valid. You are watching a beautiful match and somebody is asking you to come to dinner after switching off the TV. Imagine as adults, how do you feel? See, match is just an example. Anything that you're watching or anything that you're doing. As adults, we have this impulse control 20 plus years that, okay, I know I can come back and watch this anytime. But still, when you go out and dinner, you will be thinking about it, right? You will feel such I should have sat there and watched that live properly. I should have watched that match properly. So that feeling that you have, when it is valid for you, why not it is valid for your child? Just because you told them that you have to switch off. Just because they have to listen to you. Because they are smaller than you and we are their parents. That is the mindset that we have, that they have to listen to us. They have to be disciplined. The moment I say stop watching, they have to stop watching. That's not that. The mindset shift that I told you earlier. When you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, you are giving your control to the child. So the first all sentences, connection, validation, offering choices, everything will go on a toss if you feel anxious in that situation and give the control of your emotions to the child. The child sees you more anxious, getting more angry because of the trigger that is happening, and the child will start reacting even more. You get frustrated and the entire discussion that has to be smooth will go into more chaos. So having more control over how you feel, okay, that matters the most when you are handling a child during their emotional vulnerable state. So that's more important. As I told you, sticking to boundaries that we were talking about. So don't let them do what you want, what they want to do. Somebody told also the question that I asked about. I just let him do what he wants to do. So what happens when that you do what they want to do is, that's a pattern that gets set. Like the child knows, if you have set a boundary of watching TV from Monday to Friday, or for example, whatever it might be. Monday, you are telling 1 hour, time is over, you have to switch off. The child is switching off probably, and that's gone. Tuesday, you are stuck up with some work and you're allowing the child to watch TV for 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is. And then suddenly we realize that it's long time and we ask them to stop. Tuesday, Thursday, the child is asked to switch off the TV, the child is crying and you don't have enough time to do everything, and then you again leave the child and everything goes on a toss again. So when you're not consistent with your boundaries, it goes really on a toss. Yes, Aarti, I completely agree. That is why gentle and conscious parenting is very, very difficult, because not everybody, I cannot say that I can do all these steps very perfectly in every situation. Not possible. That is important to understand your triggers. That's very, very important. That I told you about the other session that I take. It's very important that you as parents understand where your trigger comes from. That can be from your childhood experience as a child as well. Like how Aarti told, nobody can quickly realize. You have to get back on your shoes as a parent, as an adult, before validating the other person's response opposite to you. You have to know where your trigger is coming from. Like, okay, I'm getting angry now. I have to calm down. You need to know. That is called as understanding your triggers. So you should know. For example, Aarti, I know she's personally known to me, so I know for her, it's like the TV, the child watching TV is her trigger. So for somebody else, it can be like somebody that we know now, I don't know the name. For her, meals can be a trigger. For somebody, sleeping can be a trigger. The child sleeping can be a trigger. If you see adults without children, or anybody who's not a parent yet, something else can be a trigger. Like working on a Friday evening can be a trigger that makes them so frustrated. All this, all of us are valid to have all these emotions. Just imagine that. It's just because you're a parent, it's not necessary that you have to be perfect. I am not perfect. I can tell that anyway. I am not perfect. Being a educator, being a child counselor doesn't mean that I am 100% dealing my child's emotions and controlling mine. No, it doesn't mean that. I do end up having a power struggle with her, and then end of the day I have to sit, I have to apologize, I have to validate that I scream screamed at you, that's why you felt bad, and I said, I'm so sorry, I should have taken care of my emotions. That is why communication is more important. You talk to them, and not only during the phase of tantrums, rest of the day, rest of the time as well. You communicate to them, making them feel connected to you and trusted through your voice. Like, okay, even if I feel upset, mommy will be okay with me. Like if the child is watching TV or dropping something down, the child will immediately look at you for validation. In case you are losing your control and you're shouting at the child at that moment, the next time the child is doing something wrong, they will not feel safe to come and tell you, right? So when you're focusing on the communication, you have to, the major, what would I call that, a keynote there is, you have to focus on your emotions and your thought processes before responding or reacting. So the two differences is reaction and response. So the reaction is what just Aarti said, all of us do react because 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, we have been seeing people reacting and not responding. To get in control of our emotions is the toughest thing to do. When we find it so difficult, just imagine how difficult it is for a toddler, for a 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old, even teenagers, to have control of their emotions and stop something that they are doing just because we told them not to. It's a very huge thing. We always, and one more thing I've noticed is, I think somebody also put it here, we always feel the pressure because somebody else will comment on our parenting and judge our parenting because our child is behaving this way, right? That is the biggest thing that most of us fall prey for. We think that we are doing something wrong and we want our children to listen to us for this reason. Like, we want them to be very disciplined. So sticking what I was talking about, communication. First one is connection. Second one is just validating their feelings. Please have a note, when you're validating their feelings, you will not be giving any explanation, any advice, any details. Like, for example, the meal plate of somebody's question was there. Meal plate, when you're giving, say, like somebody said, eat dal and roti first, baby. Eat vegetables first, baby. It's good for health. Carrots are good for your eyes. The spinach is good for your skin. Child will not understand anything. I'm telling you. When you explain anything to your child, when they are already crying and in a tantrum, not even one word gets into their mind. Okay, because their mind is stress automatic response activated, and the brain. See, when I'm telling you this, it may seem very scientific probably, or like very problematic, very vague, but this happens in a fraction of a second. That's why the child will have a negative experience towards anything that creates any force to them. If you want the child to do activity the child has come to do, and child would probably be experiencing it in some other way. When they're experiencing it in some other way, we jump in and say, no, do this, like keep like this, keep like that, do this is the way that you have to do. The child gets frustrated, throws and gets off, and they will never come back to do that activity again, because that's a negative response attached to that. The same thing with meals. You force a child to eat meals, they will never come back to sit and properly eat meals. Third thing, or third example can be reading books. If you force a child to sit with you and start reading books, it will create a negative experience for the child, and the child will never come back to books. Writing homeworks, if there are any older children here, I'm not sure how many of you have older kids. If you have older kids and if you're forcing that homework and schooling things on your child and you're scolding, like you have to do the homework, ma'am will teach you, ma'am will do so many things, etc., that will create a huge problem, right? So that is one thing you have to focus on. And the fourth one that I told you was third one was offering the choices, fourth one was sticking to the boundaries, and the last one was listening carefully. Listening carefully. So which means you have to listen what they say, not make them maybe because we have been brought up in such a way that when you're communicating to the child, we immediately want them to listen to us. When you are connecting and communicating with the child, no? We always want. A lot of people come and tell me that, even how do I make my child listen to me? How do I make him listen to discipline him? Or probably how do I make them to listen to what I want them to do? How many times do you listen to them as parents? Not only during the tantrum. Listening means, see, there's a misconception that listening means agreeing to what they want to do. Like, the child wants to eat a chocolate. Okay, the child is coming and telling you they want to eat a chocolate. Listening means, oh, okay, I see that you wish to eat a chocolate now. I hear you. I understand that you wish to eat a chocolate now. That is listening. Okay, but what we do is, when the child, even before the child comes and tells us chocolate like that, we say, no, you can't eat chocolate. Health will be gone. I will not be able to give you chocolate right now. Your throat will be gone, etc., etc. Explanations only. Listening means just listening to what they say. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're going to give them the chocolate. It doesn't mean that you're going to accept what they want. Lot of people misunderstand that. If I listen and if I validate my child's feeling, it means I have to give them what they want. No, that is where boundaries come in. So when your child is coming and communicating something to you, listen to them very carefully and accept what they are saying. Like, Mommy, I want to watch TV. Looks like you want to watch TV some more time. Okay, you feel like watching TV some more time. So listening is, the child feels like, okay, whatever I want, whatever I am feeling, I'm able to tell that to mom. Mommy is able to understand that. Like, you guys are asking questions now. If I'm totally answering an irrelevant thing for the question, how do you feel? How will I make Nivedha understand what I want? But I am trying to explain to you what you're not supposed to do, right? So when the child wants to tell you something, listen. Keep aside or switch off the brain that you already have about parenting, disciplining, what else, behavior, or anything. Just keep it aside. Just have an open ears to listen. If you want, go to their level and listen to what they're saying, or just be there and just listen. Okay, I'm hearing. Yes, I'm hearing. So the child will feel, okay, I am telling something and she's listening to it. But what do we generally do? We'll be doing something else and answering. Yeah, okay, I got that. The child will coming and tell you, Mommy, tomorrow I will want to go to the mall and play in the park, Mommy. Like that, the child will be coming and telling, and we'll be like, tomorrow, we'll see that later. Today, now you go instead. Today, now I told you can't watch now. Today, anyway, we can't. Instead, you tell them that, oh, tomorrow, do you really wish to go to the mall? Okay, let me see what are the possible options. Tomorrow, you really like to go to the mall and play. Oh, that is your need. Oh, that is what you like. Listening, in case you are somebody who's not able to get these words immediately, like how Aarti said, you're not able to bring these choice of words when you're validating. All that you can do is, yeah, yes. So this sounds that you're giving is validating. In case you're not able to get words, okay. Sometimes if you're overusing this, that will also frustrate the child. That like, what happened to this lady? Always she used to keep screaming. What happened to daddy? He used to give me a lot of explanation. Now he's just telling, maybe he's not understanding. In case, in rare situations where you're not able to get proper words for communicating to your child, choose sounds that is like agreeing sounds, accepting sounds, like okay, I see, that I can understand. So these will make them feel, okay, she's listening, she's getting my point. Also, when you do this, you will stop yourself from over-explaining. When you use just these words, that but explanation of okay, that this, etc. will not be there. So this is a two-way helping mechanism when you want to choose, when you're not getting right words or being very conscious about the positive words that you're wanting to talk. So coming to the last aspect of it, because I know that 5 more minutes to close, replacing your nose, okay, that is one biggest thing that I want to include with respect to the connect. Cherish part is the first two part, which is totally okay, is the cherish part will always fall in place. The second part of communication, the one major thing I want to add is, we spoke about it earlier as well, but in reality, how do you even replace your no? Like, no, I can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. When there is a no there, okay, there is a what would I say, fact that a child gets to hear close to 250 to 300 or something no's in a single day. In a single day from parent. There is a survey taken somewhere, I forgot where I read that, but that is the numbers. Imagine hearing no these many times in a single day. We'll go mad. That the child is listening that from us. No in the sense any negative response, not just the no. So the child will automatically tell that to you. So how do you replace the no? So how do I tell them that not to do something or work on the other things as well, like that? So when you talk to the child, you don't want the child to jump. We say no jumping. Instead of that, okay, you are going to say them to stay on the floor. Don't climb on the sofa. You want to tell them, no, don't climb on the sofa. Stay on the carpet. Or can we please have the legs on the floor, please? No, always have a request. See, just because we are their parents, it doesn't mean that we can order them. Like, do this, do that. I totally understand, because we have been brought up, almost majority of us been brought up in that way. No blame to our parents, because they just did whatever possible from their end, because they have been treated the same way, or they have been raised the same way by their grandparents. So much. This is why we all are cycle breakers of the generation, right? We're trying to do something different which is not done before. So it's obviously difficult. And when you're saying this, like you want to say, don't run away. No, when you're walking in a park or in an open area, you're saying, no, don't run. Okay. Instead of that, you say, hold my hands. Please hold my hands. Please hold mommy's hands. When you say this, what happens is, as I told you about the subconscious part of the brain that doesn't listen to the negative words, when you say a child, don't jump, you have told the child what not to do. Okay. Now the child's state of mind is, okay, what should I do now? Give me an action to do. You told me whatever I was doing, I'm not supposed to do. Help me with what I'm supposed. What should I do now? Tell me that. So the child tells you, looks at you like this sometimes, and that's why when you say don't jump or don't run, they exactly do that, because they don't know what to do after. So when you are telling this, like, please hold my hands, the child knows, okay, I'm not supposed to run. The next actionable thing that I have to do is holding the hands. I'm not supposed to jump on the sofa, which means the mummy told stay on the floor. Like you would have noticed, when the child is carrying the water bottle, we usually say, glass of water, no? We usually say either be careful or don't spill the water. We generally say that, be careful, be careful, be careful. Don't spill the water, don't spill the water. So, what happens when we say this is, we don't tell the child what they are actually supposed to do, right? This is the proper communication that we have to focus on. Instead of telling a child what not to do, give them straight answers of what they can do. Can you please hold the bottle gently? Okay. Can you please lie down on the other side? Can you please finish your meal plates? Or can you please eat your chapatis carefully? Or see, the word carefully, if it's overused, that will create a confusion for the child, because they don't even understand what this carefully means. So that can also be avoided. If you're using it very diligently in a less number of times, that's okay. But if not, you have to rephrase it. Like whatever I said. Next time, when just after the session, you can sit down and say how many no's, or the previous situation where you have used a lot of no's, and rephrase it to what you are actually wanting the child to do. Like whatever I said, you want the child to sit properly. Instead of telling don't sit like that, you tell the child sit this way. The simple sentence or simple thing for you to remember is, tell them clearly what they are supposed to do. Okay, that's one thing. And coming to the last part, then I think, we are closing it. Last part of, as I told you, this is a 3-hour session, and our slot is 1 hour. So I've tried maximum to crush it into the 1 hour slot so that I can deliver what is the very crux of it, importance of it. Coming to the last part, cherish part, when the first 2 things are there, you will start looking at your child in a very different way, and you will start appreciating the parent in you for being you. You will not struggle to become somebody else that you see be around you like the best parent. Or just imagine, what if your child is crying? What if your child is watching TV for a long time, in a day or two, maximum in a week 2 times? Or what if the child is not completing the nameplate? What will happen if the child is not doing activities for a day? Nothing is going to happen. The world is not going to stop. But what if the child is not allowed to express how he feels? What if the child is only punished? What if the child is only blamed? What if the child is only shamed? What if this parent is feeling so much of guilt? What if the parent is feeling so much of stress? What if the parent is always anxious when they are talking to the child? What if the parent is having so much of confusion and doubt in themselves? All this creates a long-term effect on both the parent and the child. A child is not allowed to express their own feelings in childhood, are turning into adults like you and me who are struggling and wanting to know more about mental health, how to ask for help, how to talk to somebody, how to feel calm. We are trying to find solutions for that. If we do that to our child now, cherish every moment with them. Have in mind, nobody is going to give a trophy for you saying you are the best parent, you have a best child, you have raised it very well. So many things, right? So you will start cherishing yourself as a parent and your relationship with your child. It doesn't mean that you want your child, after all this perfection and stuffs and whatever you're learning, my workshop, anybody else's workshop you're taking and learning a lot of books, etc. It doesn't mean that after practicing it for 4 months, the child and you will be perfect. Situations will be different, experiences will be different, learnings will be different. Your child will grow more, communicate more, want more, need more. Our responsibility as a parent is to provide them a space where they feel themselves. That's all. Not to make them happy all the time. Not to create a child who is super good in academics or behavior or emotional, and not to always keep them happy. Tomorrow at 25 years, if my daughter is coming to me and telling she's feeling sad, and I am just there to tell her, oh, I understand that can be too difficult for you, baby. I'm not going to give her a solution. I'm just going to be her space for her so that she finds her own solution after she feels better. Right? So thank you so much, and may all of you have a better connection with communication and cherishing with your child. Please do take care, and I will just take the questions that came up so that what is it? What if they are crying? Yeah, Vilash, sorry.
I think the question starts from what if they are crying because they want TV even after watching for a long time, like throwing tantrums?
Aarti has attended all my sessions and my consultations as well, but still this problem is not over. Okay, so see again, Aarti, as we've discussed multiple times, see, long time, as I told you in the example itself, it's the long time defines the long time for us. Throwing a tantrum is just that he is expressing his anger that you're asking him to switch off. Explaining him right at that moment will not work. Validate doesn't mean that if 1 week he is good when you say and you offer choices, then it doesn't mean that the next week also he has to be the same. He has to get your help. He needs your help every single time he's switching off the TV. Even today, just before I came for the session, my daughter was watching something in the tab and I asked her to switch that off. She was watching some random videos. I wanted her to switch off to the back to the video that she was watching. She had a tantrum. Doesn't mean that she's adamant. No, she's feeling very irritated because I asked her to stop doing something that she said. I had to sit with her, validate with her, make her calm down, and then change to something that we wanted. So it doesn't mean that just because we talk to them and do everything, they will behave the same all day, every single day, Monday to Sunday. I know it's too hard on you. I really understand, but the long time definition is yours. For me personally, because I know you, I think don't take so much of pressure on you that the child is watching TV for a long time. If you're offering the child TV again and again just because he is crying, he will always ask the same thing again. What if they don't want eye contact with them and hug? Yeah, amazing question. Sorry, there's no name. If they don't want eye contact and hug, okay, that is absolutely okay. Why? Because some children doesn't feel like to be touched when they're very stressed or when they're crying, and it is totally okay. Just imagine, even when you are very stressed, somebody comes and hugs you, even you don't like, you'll be like, leave me alone for some time. So that's a beautiful question. What you do is physically be available there in that room for them. You tell them, I understand you're sad, I understand that you're upset, I am here when you need. And there are times when my daughter has told me to get out of the room, and I have told her that I understand that you're sad, please wait for me, I am waiting for you outside. Once you feel better, do let me know, I will come and take care. So if they don't force them to look at you, look at me, what happened, look at me, or come, it's okay, when you hug you. Sometimes when you hug, they don't feel better. We assume because you have seen in a lot of social media platforms that give them a hug, they will feel better. No, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes they don't feel better. So it's totally okay. But physical presence, as I told you in the connection part, you have to be physically present there. That's all is needed. So the child should not feel, if you walk away or force, what happens is child should not feel, I am in the most vulnerable state of mind, and this stage my mommy is leaving me, my parent is leaving me, then who will handle my feelings? So the child feels even more stressed. So amazing question. Elders in the house name the kid as adamant and wants to stop them crying immediately and offers what the kid wants. I know it's too difficult, it's absolutely difficult, but just because the elders are naming the kid as adamant, the kid doesn't become adamant. We have to set our mind. I understand in a joint family it is too difficult, but you are the core source of communication and connection for the child. No matter what the other people do, the child will come back to you and trust you for what you're saying. So you be the source of all this. A lot of people say, Nivedha, whatever you are saying, I am able to follow, but the others in the family are not able to follow. It's absolutely okay, because you can't change every other person. Or in case my child is going to the school outside, I cannot tell all the teachers to behave the same way, right? Teachers can be entirely different. But when she comes back home to me, I can validate how she felt when teacher scolded her. I can be there for her to tell her that, okay, I understand that you felt very sad that the teachers told you this. That's the space we need to create. Stop them from crying is if the child, they are diverting and giving, it's fine if the child is with them and that is happening. When the child is with you, they are very clever, they know very well that in case the child knows mommy does not give, they give. So it's okay. If possible, be there and divert the child or take away the child from there. Move the child physically from the adults and then validate and do this so that they don't end up interrupting. If it is not possible, it is still okay. You be the source of taking the child into consideration. Okay. My baby throws anything, looks at me at that time. What can I say? And still answers. See, that is what validation is about. Throwing things. This is a different behavior. There's something called as cause and effect. See, I will not be able to take all the questions because it's different topics that I have even workshops and consultations. So if it is coming under this category, I will take it. Looks at you for validation is something called as cause and effect, where the child is just wanting to see how you react for the same. If you react, in case earlier situations, if you have reacted like don't throw like that, the child will be expecting. I think the child should somewhere be around 1.5 to 2.5, the category that you have to, not more than that, because if it is above that, the child will know that they're not supposed to. So if it is in between this category, don't say anything. You can go to the child, hold the hand and tell that I understand you feel like throwing things, and there is something called as schemas where the child might be in urge to throw a lot of things. So you will have to validate that and provide opportunities for the child to throw. At that time, be neutral is what I would suggest, because if the child is wanting every time validation from you, then they are seeking connection from you. Maybe they are seeking attention from you. That only when they throw things, you're looking at them. So that can also be, it's very huge. I will not be able to give you exact answers. Separation anxiety, not to deal with, Sandra, you know that not to deal with this topic, but just to give you a very simple answer, separation anxiety is very normal. It's there even for adults. After marriage, going back to your mother's home and getting back to your home, you still feel the same. So for a child, it's very valid. It's very genuine. If you have to deal with it, give trust, give confidence, connect more, talk to them more, prepare them way ahead, and validate when they come and tell you that they are sad. So that's it. She always uses her legs, like touching books with legs. For toys with legs, we request you please use your hands, but still continues the same how to deal with it. Maybe you guys are overreacting. I'm not sure. Just with the message, because if she's doing it again and again, it can be just to see the reaction. Because the children will be very fascinated to do. You can give her activities that something use of her leg. Maybe there needs a gross motor development for the child where she wants to use the leg more, where she is not allowed to move more, where she is not allowed to run more. There is no space or something like that. Give her an opportunity to. There's a lot of activities you can check YouTube and do something with respect to picking up things from her legs and giving her opportunity to satisfy that need, so that these stop. So just telling her not to do this, no, it's not going to satisfy her need. So when you provide her opportunity to do this, it will be helpful. If elders tell don't cry, time now, do this now, take things now immediately, then maybe you can. I used to take things instead of him, but elders always say. See, elders will do that because their way of disciplining is that, and our way of disciplining is this. If you have a proper connection and support from your partner or from the other people in the house, make them understand, talk to them, make them attend sessions, recorded sessions, workshops, blogs, so many opportunities are there. If nothing is working out, you have to take control and be there physically present to stop them from doing it, and you do it your way. Because expecting them to change and behave differently, it's not possible. It's not practically possible. They are 60 years, 50 years, 70 years used to do something in a different way, and making a 60-year-old or a 50-year-old change is better than we 25, 30-year-old go to the pace and be there to handle that situation. Okay, expecting them to change doesn't happen. Whatever I told you, be loud, take step, stand there and stand up for your child's needs. So expecting them to act, I went and told all this, Nivedha, but they are not agreeing. They will not agree. How will a 70-year-old change for all the gentle parenting that you're learning? They'll say, what? You're taking workshops for parenting? That itself they'll not agree. What if the kid says no for both the options? See, that is again, this is not very simple thing, because if the child has been restricted so much during the day, the child will feel more frustrated and say no for anything and everything. This offering choices is not with respect to one point. It's very huge. You have to work on the bringing the child's feelings down, validating that, and making him part of all the activities that you're doing in the way. Allow him to do things by himself. So if there is a no for both the options, you have to again validate. Step 2. Again go back. What made you say this, or what happened? Do you feel sad? Do you feel upset? If there is a no again, it means that the child is still in stress. The child does not want to do anything. He just wants to feel calm. I remember sitting with my daughter for 30 minutes just by hugging her, and whatever I asked, she said no. Whatever options I gave, biggest of whatever she liked, she said no. That is true, because the child is more stressed. So they want to calm them down first. Don't know how to handle when she's keep on shouting in the bathroom. It's okay to shout in the bathroom. I understand it's a very big disturbance to the other people, but if she's not allowed to shout or express other places outside, just imagine you keep telling a child, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. What will the child do? She should shout somewhere, right? So that she chose bathroom to shout. So please do some. I remember I keep screaming with my daughter just in the hall, like ooh, and all that. So just allow them to shout or do something. I asked him if he wants cheese or Cheerios, and he said no. I know. He needs always chocolate, sometimes of okay, but sometimes he himself will take. Your parenting session was very awesome and it's helping me nowadays. Thank you so much. She always uses her legs. That's all. Thank you. Sorry. How can we help children with left brain development? Lacking words to communicate. See, this is something to deal with speech, because if the child is not left brain, the left brain starts becoming more activated by 6 years only. But the left brain, lack of words for communicating is not much related to the left brain, because left brain is more logical. It's not something that is related to communication. So if you think the child is lacking words in communication, I would suggest you to please take up a speech consultation with the therapist to see and assess if she is not having any speech delay. That might be the reason. I'm not sure, because just with this I will not be able to consult because it's the very common statement, right? I'm not taking repeated questions, guys. Just time out. How to make them understand the particular action after like playing. They don't understand, Rudra. That is the problem. See, as I told you about the impulse control, no? If they have something in their hand, they know that it is harmful, they will not be able to stop them from doing it. That's why they need physical intervention, that you have to go near them and hold their hands from stop touching the sharp objects. Standing away and explaining them that this is sharp, stop touching it, you should not do that. And you, even if they're 4-year-old, wanting, see, my daughter knows 3.6, she knows that steps she will fall, still she will try to jump from the steps because they are exploring and they cannot stop that urge to jump. Same thing, the child cannot stop the impulse control, right? They cannot stop. You as an adult, the role of you is to go hold their hands, physically make them safe. That is what our role is. Okay, this last one I'll take. Okay, in a joint family, when I validate child's feeling in front of others, my child is calm and seems like he feels I understood him, but others making fun of us, saying, "Oh, see how his mom is talking with him, using up how to handle women versus women." I'll tell you something. This happens with me as well. No, I'm not in a joint family. I'm in a nuclear family. But whenever I come to my mother's place, no, I get mocked by my father for doing this because they think that we are over-explaining to our child, and the child doesn't understand this. So the feeling that you are talking about is a shame feeling that you have, or a mocking or a teasing feeling that you have as an adult. The child will anyway not understand it. They just think that the other person is laughing. The child does not understand why the other person is teasing or something. Whatever you are doing, if you are the one point of contact for your child, the child will look into your eyes and will only listen to what you say. They will not be having ears at that point of time to listen to what the other people say. So it is totally okay that you are that one point of contact. Keep validating, and the feeling of making fun of you by the other people, no, that is a shame that you have to overcome. Like, you feel upset that they are talking to you or making fun of you. That is something to deal with yourself. Like you feel shameful or you feel affected, like why they are doing this. That trigger you have to control. Make sure that you don't pass that shame or something to the child. The child will not understand anything. Okay. Abhilash, I'm stopping this. Too much of talk. Sorry.
All right, ma'am. No worries. Thank you so much for.
Before I leave, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I missed talking about the why I did this and why I am having this session. Abhilash brought to me something, a very beautiful concept called as DLearners. I've never heard it before, and when he came and approached me, it was such a beautiful concept. All of you who are listening to this, please go back to them and check what they do. They are having beautiful assessment for children with learning disabilities. Okay, it is not with everybody. It is about learning disabilities for all the children who lack ability for learning, specifically for learning, and they're providing assessment and everything free for at least a month. So just imagine, they want to reach out to a lot of parents who think the parents are not aware that the children will have learning disabilities. There are a lot of cases where parents are not aware, and then they think that this is something that I have to see, and they think that there is something wrong with the child, wrong with the parent. So to fill that gap, they have app-based assessments where the child can take, where the parent can take, and they can see if the child is having the learning disability, and then work together. I think I'm not sure about the number of sessions, but they're giving it for free for the initial level. Please do spread the word. I think some causes like this, we are supposed to hold hands and give them support, because they're trying to reach across India and trying to support parents and children for the same reason. Over to you. I want Abhilash to share a few points about this, because I want everybody to know about it. Thank you, Abhilash.
Yeah. Thank you, Nivedha, ma'am. Actually, it was a wonderful session. We had at least done it for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and nobody, the time just went like that. A lot of questions from a lot of parents attended today, and it was incredibly amazing to help all these parents through our webinar and everything. And like you said, DLearners is all about identifying and providing intervention to children with learning difficulties. We especially help children with reading, writing, and spelling difficulties. So if you are having a child above 4.5 years, and if they are if they are below 11 years, and if you are finding any difficulty with your child in reading, writing, and spelling, please do download the DLearners Parent app, or reach out to us through our social media profiles and anybody. and we'll give you a free assessment, demo, counseling with you, and we'll definitely make your child an independent learner.
So thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Abhilash, for having me. It was a nice
Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.